Alright, so this is a personal book that I've been writing for a while. I want to know what you think about it. Stray Dogs, Redemption. For he who makes a beast out of himself gets rid of the pain of being a man. Dr. Samuel Johnson. Woe to the worthless shepherd who deserts his flock. May a sword strike his right arm and right eye. May his arm be completely withered and his right eye utterly blind. Zechariah 11:17. Shit, I just lost everything. Well, I'm having some technical difficulties on my end. It was a long summer car ride. It was the same long car ride as every summer that came before it. The car was a family-sized older model car. The red paint was fading off the old steel body of the vehicle. A young starter family would leave their children with their grandparents. There we go. Every summer, their father's parents lived in the holy city, miles away from their home. There they would there their children would spend every day all summer long. Their parents could not wait to be rid of their children. Their eyes were locked down the road, looking for the holy city just ahead of them. Inside the car, a young boy sat in his seat. Several heavy, dark lines sat under his bloodshot royal emerald green eyes. It was like he had not slept in some time. He was wearing a white button-up dress shirt and a red tie, a black waistcoat with white pinstripes, and a brown leather trench coat. A pair of black pants with a rusty leg brace on his left leg and combat boots. A black fedora with white trim sat on his head. He was watching the trees as they passed by them and watching the ring around the planet Zion. Sitting next to her brother was the boy's twin sister. Her hair was twice as long as her brother's, but the same light brown and royal emerald green eyes. She was wearing a fine red summer dress and polished black shoes. Their young father was wearing similar clothes as his son, as he sat in the driver's seat smoking a thin cigar as he drove down the long blacktop stone road. Their young mother was wearing a fine white summer dress. In spite of the scorching hot air, her every breath showed in the air like it was winter. Her fingers are a deep, dark purple and icy cold, like they were in the advanced stages of frostbite. From her hands all the way up to her elbows were covered in the same discoloration of frostbite. In spite of this, she was not in pain. As she sat next to her husband, the boy and his twin sister in the back seats of the car. The boy's large, fluffy, black four-legged brother was sitting on the floor, his front legs resting on the boy's leg brace as his head hung out the boy's window like he was having the time of his life, his tongue and ears waving freely in the wind as it flew over his head as they drove down the heavily forested blacktop stone road. The dog's tail wagged happily as it continued to hit the girl's legs. I don't understand why you bother to bring this beast with us every summer, Astaroth, the young girl said, pushing the dog aside, knocking him towards the window. The boy quickly caught his brother before he could go out the window, however. After a few moments and a deep breath, the boy finally responded to her. The real question is, why do we even bother to go here every summer? The boy said with an inhumanly cold tone in his voice, patting his brother. The dog barked as he pulled his head back from the window. Don't make me stop this car again, you two. I'm sick and tired of you two arguing, the father snapped, looking at them in the rearview mirror. Scotty, you know that Rook is Astroph's Moralier. He's imprinted onto him, so you know he's like a brother to him. So why the hell do you insist upon goading them? The mother snapped, slowly losing her patience with her offspring. It's almost humorous if you think about it. Does that mean you're more of a beast than a man, little brother? Maybe you are a dog after all, Scotty stated with a spiteful tone in her voice. I would call you a bitch, dear sister, but that would disgrace all female dogs. My dear big sister, Astroff replied, glaring at his sister with a cold and callous look in his eyes. Scotty just stared at Astroff in shock for a moment before she quickly started punching him on the side of his head. Astroff quickly and savagely retaliated by punching his sister in the face and mercilessly beating her head like a feral brute. Scotty mercilessly started hitting her brother wildly in his gut and face. Rook barked wildly as he tried to get Scotty off Astroff without breaking her skin with his teeth or claws as he pulled at her. Their father quickly pulled off the side of the road and slammed on the brakes of the car. Simultaneously, their father jetted his right arm in front of his wife. Once the car came Once the car forcefully came to a sudden stop, their father looped his arm behind his wife's seat. He quickly turned around towards his disobedient children. The two squabbling siblings instantly desisted on their petty brawl in the car as their father just glared at them with his bloodshot royal emerald green eyes and red face with blinding rage staring at them. This is the last time I'm going to tell you to behave yourselves, god damn it. Do not, oh sorry, god damn it. Do I make myself clear? Their father snapped with a rage-filled voice, glaring at them. He started it, Scotty said, turning her head towards her window. I don't give two shits who started it. I'm finishing it right here and now. Do not make me stop this goddamn car again, or I'll beat the shit out of both of you. Do you understand me? Their father shouted, filled with rage at them. Yes, sir, the twins said, sitting back in their seats. Their father turned back, looking at his wife, before continuing onward down the road. The two twins would not face each other as their bruises started to form. As Scotty went to retaliate her brother from the hard blows he gave her, Astaroth instantly went to intercept his sister. They suddenly stopped when they realized that their mother was glaring at them over her shoulder. It was like she was daring one of them to continue fighting once more. Scotty slammed herself back into her seat and stared back out her window as Astroff slammed his back against his seat and spit a small mouthful of blood out his window. The car silently the car was silent except for the radio. The car was silent except for the music coming over the car's radio and the roar of its engine. Their mother periodically glanced back at the two of them, making sure that they would not start fighting once again. As the radio started up, a radio played called The Adventures of the Pint-Sized Slasher. Astroff leaned forward in his seat. Can you shut that off, please? He pleaded to his parents, irritated by the play itself. Why? I might like it. Now sit your ass back down, their father ordered as he reached back and violently shoved his son back into his seat. Astroff just glared at his father with rage burning in his eyes. Their mother quickly shut off the radio before Astroff could pick a fight with his father next. Thank you, Astroff said quickly. Everybody shut up now, their mother ordered. Their mother and father let out a deep sigh of relief as they saw the holy city starting to form on the horizon. Finally, after hours of driving and stopping the twins' endless attempts of trying to kill each other, there were only a few more hours of driving before the trip would be over. As Astroff saw the city walls, he tried to stay calm as he thought of returning to this city deeply concerned him. He only wished that his family would just let Rook and him stay home, or just go camping on their own, anything but coming back here. Not that they could go to any summer camp groups, not after what happened last time. Astroff, Rook, and Scotty were all banned from all the summer camp groups across the area. Astroff and Rook were just too violent to be around other children. As for Scotty, she was far too unstable to be around others of any age. She was quick to temper and even quicker to fight. Astroff did not want to return to this damned city. He could have spent the rest of his life without seeing the city again, and he would have been completely fine with that. He knew that this summer especially was going to be a complete and utter disaster. That was the only thing awaiting him in this goddamn city. He prayed for the strength to whatever mad god may be listening to this abandoned world as he was forced to exist in. He is forced to exist in. However, at his very core, he knew that he had no choice in the matter. He would have to face this ungodly nightmare he was heading towards. Rook licked Astaroth's face in an attempt to cheer up his brother and ease his mood, as Astaroth forced a broken smile as he scratched behind Rook's ears. He just had to get through one long, hard, hot summer to survive. After that, he would be free from this hellhole. At least he had Rook by his side. With his brother at his back, they would find a way to survive this one way or another. At the city gate, at the gates of the city watchmen ran their identification cards of the twins and the parents. After that, the guards let them into the city. By law, everyone entering the city needed to show their identification. Astaroth watched the people on the streets as they went about their daily lives. Their clothing is similar to that of Astaroth and his family. They were tough and durable, made to last a long time. Astaroth stared up at the Tesla towers currently under repair and wondered if it had still been under repair since he left last year. His curiosity was soon broken as his father turned the car away from it. All around them was endless, dull, gray, heavy-duty reinforced concrete buildings as far as the eye could see. Atop each one of the houses were large, covered rain wells atop them and long silver antennae to connect them to the Tesla towers to give them working electricity. The whole city, like so many others, was built upon the foundations of the old world. The ancient history that it once held so dearly was long since forgotten by all those who live here now. All down the street were long, hard steel street lights with silver antennas atop them connecting them to the Tesla towers. Several traffic lights hung in the middle of the road, stopping and moving traffic as everybody simply went about their daily lives. Okay, you little shits. You two be nice to your grandparents when we arrive, understood? Their mother ordered, looking back at her children. Yes, ma'am, the twins quickly answered her. They looked at each other for a moment before looking out their windows once again. Across the city, atop a clock tower, was an abnormally tall young girl stood. She hummed a childish tune as she swung side to side. She was so, uh, as she observed the city through an antique brass telescope on its tripod. She looked all around the city with the telescope. She was like a child looking at animals and at the zoo. She was young, only a child herself. However, she already stood over 8 feet tall. Her long black braided hair hung down all the way to her knees and swayed freely as she moved to the rhythm of her tune. She was dressed in a disheveled black dress embroidered with a star pattern through the length of the dress, and a feathered black top hat on her head. She had a star pattern like birthmark on the right side of her face, covering her right eye. Her eyes were the brightest, deepest shade of blue that anyone had ever seen. They were like looking into the ocean on a clear day. She was, uh, she was an oddity to a fault, like nothing and no one around the ground below her. She stopped as her eyes widened before unbridled childish excitement immediately erupted from her as she saw Astaroth's family in the faded red car through the lens of the telescope. TK, he's here. He's here, come see. TK, come see, the girl shouted, unable to contain her excitement. A young boy was lying on the roof, napping through all the sounds below them. His clothes had a strange madness to them, like nothing or anyone in the world would wear. A yellow long-sleeved shirt with a green waistcoat with yellow pinstripes and a green green necktie tucked into his waistcoat. A green and yellow court jester cap with golden jingling bells at the tips of the cap. His eyes were so odd. The right eye was a bright, beautiful emerald green, whereas his left eye was a bright amber yellow. He too was an oddity, together with his playmate atop the clock tower. But whereas the girl towered over him, he was still taller than a normal child, already close to being 6 feet tall. He had quickly shot up off the roof tile and gulped down the rest of his blue soda before hurling the empty bottle off the side of the clock tower. The sound of the bottle hitting something, followed by a car crashing below them. He quickly sprinted over to the girl in the telescope. The golden bells rung from his cap with each step he took. The boy looked through the telescope and saw Astaroth as the girl excitedly petted the boy's back. That's him, right? That's him, all right, Pan, the boy said, reassuring. The girl's uncontainable excitement was about to burst out. Is it time? Is it time? Pan asked, shaking TK's back in her excitement. TK quickly reached into his pocket of his waistcoat and pulled out an engraved antique wind-up pocket watch. He wiped the glass with his thumb before he looked at the time and let out a heavy sigh and shook his head in heartbreaking disappointment. As he put the pocket watch back into his pocket, Pan's excitement instantly turned into tearful disappointment. TK hugged Pan and patted her back, trying to comfort her as best he could. Come on now, Pan. We can't force a flower to bloom. All we can do is let nature take its course. Trust me when I say the show will be worth the wait, TK said, comforting Pan as he pulled out a handkerchief out from his pocket and held it to Pan's nose. After Pan blew her nose, TK simply threw the handkerchief into the wind. TK and Pan watched as it flew away into the distance. He's grown since the last time I've seen him. He looks like he hasn't been sleeping well. What if he's already here? Well, wait. If he's already here, then his playmate won't be far behind, if not already on her way or here. He came with his brother, and his other brother, the lion, is already here waiting for them. Pan explained as she focused the telescope onto Astaroth and Rook. Yep, all we can do now is wait. It's always the hardest part, TK stated as he walked over to the cooler next to where he was laying down. He pulled out 2 bottles of the blue soda and a bottle opener. When it happens, what's it like? What are they like? Pan asked, looking back at Astaroth through the telescope. It's beautiful, simply indescribable, like witnessing the birth, no, more like an awakening of an ancient demon or an almighty fallen god. It's a spectacular sight to behold, TK explained as he popped the tops off the bottles and handed Pan a soda. So we wait, Pan asked as she toasted the bottle. We wait and we witness, TK answered as he clanked his bottle against Pan's. Alright, we're going to stop here for the night and pick back up at a later date. Thank you all for coming. Be patient and have a good day.